always have to boogie along with that. I don't know why. You just did. Good evening, good afternoon, or grand rising, wherever you may be joining us from. It is James and I's monthly slot when two worlds collide. And tonight we are talking about Groundhog Day. Now we know it's like a few days after that, but if anybody was here the last stream, we did have slight tech issues. So, first of all, well, I'm going to let James speak, and you can let us know in the comments that you can hear us, see us, and we're all good. Over to you, James, that way. How are you?
Yeah, I
No,
can't hear
don't
you.
start. Don't you start. Don't do that to me. Oh my god. Craig used to do that. He'd like just stick, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
Groundhog Day,
oh,
right?
exactly. No, I think we're all good. If you could let us know just while we number one in the comments,
No, get a
just let
five
me
by
know.
five
Let
in
us
the
know.
chat if we got good audio and good video.
Ooh, is this what you do? Number five. I like it. I'm
Yeah, it's a
learning.
5 by 5. It's
So
quite
David.
commonly used, right? As well as we want to reserve ones in the chat for sharing hugs, thoughts, and prayers for anybody that might be struggling. We're kind of steal
Ooh,
that from the Lifeboat channel. They always throw ones in the chat if
nice.
someone's saying I'm having a bad day. We can just throw
Is
ones
that
in the
what
chat
that
for them. And
is?
yeah, Diane
I've been
Reese.
seeing five, but I've been seeing this 5 by 5 in chats, and I'm like, what's everybody doing? Oh,
Yeah,
it's so
that's letting
handy.
the hosts and the panel guests know that the audio and the video is good.
James is louder than Zoe, but you're both coming out. James is just naturally
Oh,
louder
I'm
than me,
loud.
naturally.
Oh, Spanx, Mike, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Oh, yeah.
His content is
Good.
next level. His segments on the Lifeboat about recovery and addiction are just fantastic. As well as he's got his own channel, Calhoun's Corner, where he's painting and he's been learning to
Nice.
crochet. And he's a fire dancer, and like he's just a really
Oh, wow.
top shelf guy. And I hope that you guys please go check out his channels because he's a great human being.
Absolutely.
Yeah, big time.
I've really been enjoying his little morning chats. Obviously, the time difference, but I've got my bell on so that any content that comes up, and what's his name, Spanx? I really
Yeah,
enjoy your content. You've got a really nice, mellow aura about you. You're very honest, you're very transparent, and that's rare to find these days, especially on YouTube. So, thank you for your content. I think you're a great soul, and I'm really enjoying your content. So, yes, thanks for being here. We appreciate you. Please remember to hit
big
the
time.
thumbs up, guys. But I'm so glad that it's actually working. Yeah, thank you, Calhoun's Corner. So is this other channel is Calhoun's Corner? So that's a channel as well. Right,
Yeah,
peeps, get over and follow that. Get over and follow that. So
big
yes,
time.
it does feel like Groundhog Day. Oh, I've not put my charger in. I had to move things about. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a different setup because we were hoping that the bunny would just like entertain you for a while. So
Right.
Ollie's
Little
on his poop.
Apollo.
Yeah, but he's on the floor. It's typical. He's always on the couch, and now he's on the floor that I'm here. But it's fine.
Right, right.
It's fine. Right. So, Jamesy, when you said to me, "Let's do Groundhog Day," um, I thought it was a fantastic idea because we all do get stuck in the trapped way of thinking, the same days over and over again. Some people have that kind of we do the victim mentality. Oh, life shit. And we are responsible really for our own happiness and for making our days productive. But it's not always easy, is it, James? Even us vibrant, positive people, we struggle day to day. You know,
We do,
we do.
and every year is different. Every day is different,
Mm,
and I just as using the Groundhog Day movie, which I'm sure most of our audience has seen. Bill Murray keeps waking up the same time every day, and he's stuck in a loop that he couldn't seem to break out of, and he tries to not live anymore several different ways, and then he starts changing and he
Yeah.
starts learning to play the piano and caring about the people that are around him and learning about their what's important to them, and he refines himself, and eventually he wakes up and it's the new day. So we're given that
Absolutely.
opportunity, and it's like being at the start of February, January being such a tough month for a lot of
Yeah.
people. it does almost feel like you're stuck in a loop, because it's hard for us to get motivated, especially where I am in Canada. If you're not out snowmobiling or skiing or
Yeah.
snowshoeing, there isn't really a lot to do, ice fishing,
Hmm.
etc. But it's cold and it's frozen, and the world is taking a rest, and it kind of forces us to,
Absolutely. I'm a
right?
firm believer that winter is our holding space, and we're so programmed to be constantly busy, always doing things, when our body and our brain through winter is literally going just slow. I mean, we message through the day and it's like 4 p.m. and I'm like, I'm ready for my bed. Like, I'm yawning, I'm yawning. Listen to your body. If you're tired, go and lie down. And that's not feasible for everybody who works long jobs. I feel sorry for people that do night shift, because that must be so harsh on the body and the spirit and the soul,
Yeah,
lack of sleep and whatever. So things like that can really affect your mental health, even if you've always thought you've had good mental health, your environmental factors. So it's lots of things that you can change yourself, whether it be the people around you. Even close friends can be energy drainers and bringing you into bad habits, because you'll
yeah.
know yourself through addiction. When you break certain habits, you have to get rid of people that do the things with you, or will maybe lead you down that little path.
Yeah,
Lots of
for a period of
differences.
time. Definitely for a period of time. Like I have friends that still choose to use, right? And no
Mhm.
judgment on them. And if
No.
I'm at a party and I choose to go to a party, I'm to expect that there's going to be people there that are recreational using, and there might
Yeah.
be people that are addicts that are using at the party. But it's up to me to choose, is that a safe space for me? Like I'm at a place
Yes.
now where it's safe. I could go
Yes.
anywhere, anytime, and people could be doing whatever they want to, and it's not going to
Mhm.
affect my choices,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
I've
Just
been able
like
to
you say
set the
when.
boundaries. I've been able to set those boundaries too with people
Uh-huh.
that I can trust, that used to offer me, that haven't offered me in many years, because I was like, hey guys, you know what? I'm choosing not to use anymore.
Yes.
And I still love you guys, but please don't offer me, because
Mhm.
I might not be strong enough to not accept your gift, and to
Mhm.
no fault of my own, then I would have started using again. Right.
Absolutely. A weekday, James, you're able to go to those places and be in those situations because you're strong within yourself. If you had a really crap day or something really bad happened and you ended up at one of those parties, who's to say that you wouldn't go, oh, do you know what? Fuck it. Just one title. Oh, I shouldn't swear on YouTube, should I? Sorry.
Yeah,
Get
we'll
out
be all
there.
right. YouTube won't mind. It's only once.
Yeah, right, okay. But I know myself how easy it would be. It's just that little devil on the shoulder. And if you're feeling that little bit weaker, um, I mean, I love that you're able to go into situations like that and have the strength. But not a lot of people can. So I would definitely recommend sort of stepping away slowly but surely. You step away from those people. You don't do it abruptly, because it's like an attack on them if you kind of do that.
Yeah,
I'm going to go and heal while you guys are sitting over there.
yeah.
And real friends will support you. Other friends will just call you names or think you're weak when you're actually being stronger than them. So it's
Yeah,
it's
and
hard
there's
divisions.
a lot of people that won't even think about it. You know, occasionally they'll be like, "Oh, frig, Zoe isn't really at the parties anymore," and they'll just go back
Hmm.
to partying. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's to no,
Exactly.
it doesn't make them a bad person, that they're just going on with
Yeah.
their life and their
Yeah.
story, right? But we're gonna
Absolutely.
have all of the
Absolutely.
different people, which gets me to saying this. I just wrote down a few notes, plug things. Addiction is a disease, guys, right? So let's
Hmm.
treat addiction as if it was a disease. When we find out somebody is an addict and trying to get help, let's treat them as if they were a cancer patient or somebody with AIDS or
Absolutely.
hepatitis or some other terminal illness. Because believe it or not, guys, drug addiction is a terminal illness. We lose more people every day to overdoses, accidental overdoses, and unalivings due to the stresses caused by the lifestyle of an addict. So let's treat them like
Absolutely.
loved ones, not like somebody who is going to give us addiction, right?
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
going to get crack addiction by hugging and supporting your friend or family member that happens to be addicted to that substance. And let's just keep pushing that message in 2025. I think somebody said to me, hashtag end the stigma or something, but I don't know hashtags in that whole world. So yeah, let's end the stigma of drug addiction. Please and thank you,
Yeah.
community. You know, I know that's off topic today, but it kind of isn't, because addicts live in Groundhog Day. They wake up
Well,
and
yeah,
they think, how can I get my drug of choice today? Because a lot of them are ill and they're actually physically hurting or sick, physically sick by not having their substance of choice. So it
absolutely.
is like Groundhog Day. They're going
Absolutely.
to keep repeating until they can make different decisions if they choose to do that. And if they are going to choose to do that, let's just support them to the best of our ability. Right?
Absolutely. Completely and utterly agree. You know, you show me one drug dependent person that hasn't had trauma in their life, and I'll give you like £100 because everybody has a reason for using or being addicted, you know? So you everybody's had this is another wee thing, the whole be kind and smile at somebody. We've all been in a shop or a situation and the cashier's maybe been a bit cold with you or didn't, was quite offhand. And you get quite ratty because but you don't know what they've been through. They could have just been beaten up that morning, or they could have, gone home to a violent partner or 20 children, or, so just have a little bit compassion because you don't know what people are going through that day. So if
Yep.
somebody's nasty to you, smile even more. That's what I do. I just
Yep.
try and radiate that light and then they do end up smiling back or feeling like that size because they know they've been an asshole.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Smiling at people. So this happened on, I want to say Saturday. My friend took me to the
Mm-hmm.
local store to get some snacks or whatnot. And as I was walking to the grocery section of the store, a man looked at me, and because as he was walking by, he kept the eyes on me, right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
he looked at me, and I mean, I've only had maybe 5 or 10 looks in my life since I tattooed my face where I felt like that it was my face tattoos that they're
Yeah.
giving me a dirty look or whatnot. But this guy's look, and it made me smile at him because he looked at me and the energy he projected towards me
Mm.
through his look was like I was personally responsible for everything that went wrong in his life from the day he was born. And all I could do
Totally.
was smile, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I knew it was because of how I looked that he was looking at me
Yeah.
that way, right? And he didn't change his demeanor. He just stopped looking because he would have got a broken neck if he tried to keep looking at me. So he finally kept looking for, or
Absolutely.
moved and started looking forward and going on his path. And I laughed
Mhm.
and chuckled at my friend, and I was like, I almost want to wait for this guy to leave the store and actually mug him so that so that he
So you
would,
had a reason.
be justified for how he looked at me,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
all jokes
Reverse
aside,
projection.
it was that same thing. If you smile at somebody and you don't know, maybe somebody looks at you
Yeah.
with a dirty look and they're just not looking at you. They just happen to be having a dirty look because of whatever's going through their mind. And
Yeah.
maybe there's somebody that would be going home to abuse their partner or children or animal, but because you smiled at them, they
That's
don't,
true. Yeah, that's true. That's
right?
true.
We're
Never
constantly
thought about it
thinking
that
of,
way.
smiling at somebody because they might be having a miserable day and they might be going home to some abuse. But we rarely think of by being kind to somebody who may be an abuser, they might not be abusive that day because they had a
Mm-mm.
random smile or a random kind gesture uh, offered to them in a sense,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I've smiled at people and you see it lift them because they're a bit shocked, but you physically see them kind of lift and then they smile back and then they stay like that. They don't go back down to their. But you've got to be careful because in certain situations, if you smile at somebody, you're probably going to get stabbed in Scotland. No, you need to read the room. If it's somebody going absolutely crazy, maybe just like, yeah, walk away. Then he'd be like, hi.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Just go the other direction.
Like, yeah, it's cool.
Right.
Totally.
So,
No, don't,
seeing
yeah.
how we're speaking about the emotions that people were going through, and you had said, let's cover boundaries a little bit. in
Yes,
today's
yeah,
stream because we're trying to
absolutely.
help ourselves grow and we're trying to help our community grow to move towards the direction of love and away from the direction of fear.
Hmm.
So there's 5 major boundary types for ourselves and those around us. And I'm just going to list them off really quickly here, and then we'll dive into each one on their own. But there's emotional boundaries and material boundaries, time and energy, as well as mental boundaries and physical boundaries. And
Mm,
I've only got a few notes here because we like to, go organically and have a discord and a conversation.
yeah.
But first off, because emotional boundaries, some people they're dismissive or they're rejecting and or assuming of our emotions, as well as we do this towards others sometimes
Yeah,
subconsciously without realizing.
yeah.
So if we're in an abusive pattern, people might be trying to justify your emotions, right?
Hmm.
Which goes down to
Hmm.
jading, right? If
Jading,
you're
yep,
going to have to be
yep,
justifying yourself,
yep.
it's probably not healthy, and we may need to set boundaries. If somebody's saying the emotions you're having, oh, that's not how you're feeling, this is how you're feeling. Right. If somebody says, oh, I'm really angry right now, and they're like, well, you're not really angry. You're just frustrated, or they or
Mm,
try and
yeah,
make it lesser, etc.,
yeah,
etc. We might need to pay attention to that and be able to set a boundary of, well, no, I appreciate that you think this is maybe how I'm feeling, but I'm actually
yeah,
verbally telling you how I'm feeling,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we try
yeah.
and do that with kindness, compassion, understanding, and care,
Mm-hmm,
and use assertiveness, not aggression, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If you get loud, people tend to listen less. But if you just stay kind of firm with your voice, people will tend to listen more, I think. So
You're bang on with that, Diane. One of my Buddhist teachers said, always smile at strangers. You might be the first person who has acknowledged their existence that day. Wow, that's
beautiful.
powerful. Absolutely. And that's why I take time out. If there's like elderly people on the bus and they start chatting, I always take time. Everybody just talks to me. Or I get people that say, oh, I don't tell anybody anything about myself. And then 5 minutes later, I know everything. And they even say, I never tell anybody anything, but I'm like, it's okay because I'm a safe person. It's
Yeah.
just the healer in me. They just
It
feel safe.
happens to
So,
me all the time as well. And I love the elderly people in the community. Um,
yes.
I call them the
Because,
single serving grandparents, right? Because I don't have
yes.
grandparents anymore. And when an old lady asks me in the grocery store to get something for her off the shelf, or this or that, I jump at the opportunity. You know what I
Love
mean?
that.
Almost walk slower when I'm around their energy because I'm hoping they'll ask me for some help. You know what I mean?
Wow. No, well, we're going to be there one day, aren't we? That's the
Most
thing.
definitely,
When
right?
I see some elderly people, my heart just absolutely breaks. But I respect them for powering on and being independent and going to do things. But I mean, oh, wow, yeah. One day. Anyway,
They're
we're
a
not here
different
to talk
breed.
about getting old.
They're a different breed. They're a different
Oh,
generation, right? Like
I agree.
everyone, like yourself, I have a lot of people under 65 that when I meet them for the first time ever, they want to tell me their life story. But when I meet
Yeah.
these older people in their late 70s and into their 80s and 90s, they don't tell me their life story. They just want to, for some reason, hold my hand and tell me I'm beautiful.
Oh,
And it's
oh,
heartbreaking, you know?
wow.
Because it's like this complete stranger. They grab your hand with both hands and they do the hand tap and
Yeah,
they say, thank you
yeah,
so
yeah,
much for helping me
yeah,
today. You're
yeah,
such a beautiful
yeah.
human being. I appreciate you. And I leave the store like as if I won the lottery on
Yeah,
those
yeah,
days.
I get you. I get you totally. And it's all altruistic. You don't help her so that you get good karma, or you don't even have a thought of it. You're very like me, we just do it. Even if it's like going to cause us issues, we maybe have a sore back, we'll still reach that extra high for that little sweet old lady or man. Like I'm like that. I'm very I do it from the heart before my brain. Do you know what I mean? I'll just go and help somebody, like
Yep.
crossing the road or just anything. It's Different journeys breed different perspectives. Absolutely. And that's why life's spicy. We don't all have to agree on things. We're all in different stages of our journey. Um and I'm just glad that you've been on this journey with me, James, because we connected quite a bit back, what, about 4 years ago or something. Um, and it's just nice to see your channel blossom, you blossom. You've got all your summer stuff going on, all your gardening, giving to the homeless people, helping out, cooking. Like, I don't think you give yourself enough credit at all for what you do in life, how busy you are, and what you give to other people, because you won't find hardly anybody else like you, James. You literally give your soul away, you
Thank
know?
you. I'm
And
learning. I'm learning. Again, just recently, like 2 days ago, when I was at the bank to get some printouts at the bank, there was an old man standing beside me, and he's like, "How are you? How's the winter treating you?" And I was like, "Not too bad." And he goes, "You're the young
yes.
man who brings us all that wonderful produce to the food bank in the summer, aren't you?" And I
Oh,
was like, "I am." And I was like, "My fingers are itching to get in that soil, brother, and get the things planted this
oh,
year so that I can
I love
continue
that.
doing that." And
Love
I'm
that.
learning, I'm definitely learning.
Yeah.
I'm so afraid of ego, right? I've met so many narcissistic, egotistical people, and it just
Yes.
so ingrained this kind of,
I get you. Yeah, I get you.
right?
It's like we're so, and especially because we're doing the YouTube channel bit of it, we can still do our healing at home, but the fact that we're going online and things like, yeah, it's like we don't want tarred with the same brush as egotistical people. We're genuinely just want to, like, if somebody watches one of our shorts and just feels that little bit better, then that's our job done. And we don't even have to know about it.
It
Like,
is.
we're a different breed.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Promise
sure
you we
my
are.
three, like, because I'm all on my phone. I'm not on laptop, so I can't see who my
Yeah,
actual subscribers are. But I'm pretty
I'll
sure
have a
my
look.
301 one subscriber.
303 you have.
Right. So either one, two, or three commented on my most recent video saying, "What I'm grateful for today is finding your channel. Thank you so much. You have a
Oh,
new subscriber." And that
amazing.
has happened since I hit 300. So
I love that.
that person there, if say you're watching this, thank you for coming to my channel and saying that you're grateful for me, because I'm grateful for you too. I'm grateful for everyone that's here in this live stream. I'm grateful for all of the support group that are around the people that are in our live chat right now, as well as in the replay. The people that are
Yeah.
supporting you in your journey, that aren't being abusive, even when they're not always there, the people that are thinking and praying about you, I'm thankful
Mhm.
for them. And I'm thankful for the people they have around them. You see, so it gives me this deeper understanding of thankfulness, because it's like these interconnecting single celled organisms of thankfulness and love that are
Yes.
interconnected, that will bring us all together. Like some people would say it's like a spider web. Well, no, because a spider web is a trap, right? A spider web
Yeah.
is a trap to
Hmm.
feed something. Where the community we want to have, and the people that are in your community, we want people in an interconnected, cellular, symbiotic relationship that is for everyone's
Yes.
benefit.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just it flows. So it just flows. You know, nothing
It
should be
flows.
pushed or rushed or fought against or, you know, and it's hard with group chats, especially because not everybody's going to get on, you know. And I know myself, there's been times I've had to chuck people out my group, you know. I had to do that a couple of years ago with some people. And it's the hardest thing because groups like that can be somebody's lifeline. Do you know what I mean? It's like the
Yep.
only people that they speak to, because it certainly is for me. I don't have many friends here because I chose the healing path, and everybody that I was partying with are not on the healing path, and they're still doing their thing. So
Right.
my choice was just to become a hermit, and it's done me the wonders of good. It's done me absolutely brilliant. I don't drink, I don't do any drugs, I'm not partying. I just yeah, a wee boring little old Zozo now, and it's quite scary. But
Right.
I don't feel that I'm missing anything. I used to feel I was missing something. You know, when I had my son, I was like, oh, why am I a mum and stuff? And now I realise that's not what life's all about. Life's about socializing, but not when you're fried, not when you're drunk, not when you're all sitting talking shit till 6 in the morning in a kitchen that doesn't mean anything.
Well,
Our
there's a time and a place
conversations,
for that too.
well, yeah, but we have conversations on the phone for like an hour, and they're more enriching, but we don't have to be high and on stuff. You know, I just see things differently. It's just like the
Right.
same thing, but differently as we're getting old.
For sure. For
Keep
sure.
going then.
I want to jump back into the last point I have on emotional
Yes,
boundaries is
do that,
people
hun.
are going to ask you questions that you're uncomfortable answering, and that's okay. It gives us an opportunity to set a boundary saying, look, I love you. This is a really uncomfortable topic, and I just don't want to talk about it. And
Absolutely.
and I'm not going to talk about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
And that's okay because guess what? No is a complete sentence. If
Yeah.
somebody says no,
Yeah.
give them that
Yeah.
respect, right?
Yep.
Give them that
Absolutely.
respect. If someone says, do not contact me, we should respect that and give them the
Mhm.
space they need. If we then message them maybe one more thing of how much time do you need, you're being abusive. You're not
Yeah.
respecting other people's boundaries. And
Yeah.
like I say, none of us are perfect. That's why I'm pointing fingers at myself and I'm pointing fingers at all of us because we
Mhm.
all make these mistakes. And
Absolutely.
maybe we don't mean to be abusive, but we've learned that pattern in life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that's what we're going to try and learn on now and focus on now. If somebody says no, let's respect their no and not ask
Mhm.
them to justify and explain or defend
Mhm.
themselves, etc.,
Mhm.
because we don't want to be using abusive techniques and patterns towards our loved
Mhm.
ones by
Yeah.
accident.
Mhm.
To
I
no
think they
fault of
take
our
it
own, we could be
personal.
doing these things.
They take it personally as if you're like, I don't want you to do that. It's like, no, I don't want anybody to do that. This is like a ring, a boundary, you know, exactly a ring of protection, as I say, a boundary is.
Yep,
And if people don't respect that, and as you say, you don't have to justify. I mean, I love you, mother, and if you're watching you, you know I love you. But a lot of the time with my mum, she's learning to understand my brain now, right? With the trauma that I've been through, my brain's a little bit broken, right? And it always has been a little bit broken. And I do think completely different, and I do things completely different. And my mum is so old school and programmed that she's very, well, you should be doing this, and you should be doing, and it's like, but it's my journey and it's like my life and it might not be the best way, but I'll learn that lesson, you know. And I find myself always having to justify myself to my mum,
right,
but it's the boundary thing. I noticed it, but once I sat her down, and this is the point I want to make, I sat her down and I was like, it's not personal. I was like, if anybody just turns up at my door and I don't know they're coming, it triggers something in me. It's just a PTSD thing. It's just I don't know what it stemmed from. It's obviously something I need to work on. I said, but it's with everybody, not just you, mum. And I explained a wee bit more. And then she felt it wasn't that personal attack. But you
right,
know, we shouldn't have to justify. But I think I did have to justify it that time because I think my mum felt it was. I was just a bit like, "What are you doing at my door?" But
right.
just respect that. Respect it.
Well,
But it's
and like
hard. 'Cause,
sometimes there's a guy I like to watch on YouTube. He's a bushcrafter. He was on the TV show
okay.
Alone. He actually
Oh,
won.
okay.
He's a winner of one of the seasons of
Brilliant.
Alone. Jeremy Fowler's
Brilliant.
Makery and Mischief. He's fantastic. Um,
Love it.
he says, I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining." When he's out doing like a
Oh, I like
7 day
that.
bush challenge and it's pouring rain and he's going, oh, I got to get this tarp fixed and I got to try and do all this stuff. He's like, and he says it,
Exactly.
he's like, look, I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining because he goes, if I didn't, there'd be nothing going on other than me messing with a tarp in the rain kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there
He's
is a
being
difference,
authentic.
right? And
Mm.
sometimes maybe somebody's explaining things to us. We might be in a bad mood and think they're complaining, and then project anger and frustration towards them when they could just be, making general conversation and explaining to you some stuff they had to go through that wasn't such a great situation, but they weren't actually
Yeah.
frustrated or angry about it. They were just doing it because it needs to be done, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard. Life isn't easy, especially when it's people that you're very close to that keep stepping over the boundaries because I don't think they mean it intentionally. They're
They
just
don't.
so used to not having to step over boundaries because we didn't have any in place. So it's for them, it's adapting to it. And I think if they keep doing it, then it's like, no, no. But if they do it a couple of times and we just say, look, it's been a couple of times now, oh, I'm sorry, and then they don't do it, brilliant. They're just working on themselves as well.
Yeah. And
So they're teachers.
subconsciously, we
Hmm.
vent our frustrations and anger towards our loved ones because
Yes.
subconsciously we know they love us and will forgive us.
Yes. We project onto them because we know it's unconditional love. And it's
Right.
not that we think that, but yeah,
No,
absolutely. They
but
always
that's
say that you take it out on the
right.
closest
So
person.
that's why we're
Sure.
learning about our communication skills together here in our community, which
Hmm.
also let's take this time to remind each and every one of you how important and valuable you are to the people around you and to us, and that we should be more kind to ourselves. And I can say that because I'm one of those people that needs to be kinder to myself sometimes with the
Yeah.
way I think about
Yeah.
myself, that I'm not doing enough and I'm not good enough or any of these things, right? We're all
Hmm.
learning together and I love you. And let's move on to the
Absolutely.
second type of boundary, which is material boundaries. And I think this one here is going to be pretty
Hmm.
quick because we all know what materials are. There are clothes, there are car, there are things like this. And most of us are pretty easy at saying, sorry, you can't borrow my car. Or,
Sure.
oh, look, I'd love to lend you this shirt, but I really like it. And I'm
Yeah.
worried that something might happen to it that might not even be your own fault, but then I'll
Hmm.
be angry towards you to no fault of my own because I'm not
Yeah.
understanding that somebody spilled chocolate pudding on
Yeah.
you when you were wearing my favorite white top and I couldn't
Yeah.
get it out. And so now it's kind of your fault when it isn't their fault. So we're just
Hmm.
like, it's best if I just don't lend that to you. Or
Yeah.
some things like my rotor tiller. I lent that to a guy for a couple of years, and all the teeth got worn down, and it wasn't breaking the ground very good. And he's like, "Well, hey,
Hmm.
bro, you lent it to me on the grounds that I returned it the way I got it. So let's call and we'll order the parts and we'll get that fixed up for you." Right? Because the
Nice.
boundary was set. I will lend this to you, but if you break it, you have to replace it or you have to get it repaired. So
Absolutely.
I think like yourself, like, do you have a hard time setting boundaries when it comes to your possessions?
Well, I'm not being funny, but if you were to walk into my house, there's just crystals, right? So I've got little shells with crystals in it. I've got towers of crystals. I've got oracle cards. If you imagine my house is like a candy shop for most spiritual people, so they're like, "Ah," and see when I see somebody going over, like I'm like, ah, did it, like did it, I didn't shout, didn't touch my stuff, but most people that are spiritual know that you don't touch people's crystals, right? Now, I should put them away. The good ones I would put away. Or my oracle cards. If there's one person that has, and she's my soul sister, Heather, that she's the only person that it doesn't bother me when somebody goes to pick up my cards. Because to
Okay.
me, that's just I like it to be my energy. Obviously, I sage them and cleanse them, but
Yeah.
it's my babies. It's my babies. Don't
No,
touch my
exactly.
babies.
Right. It's something that's completely understandable. And
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to set that boundary with human beings
Mm-hmm.
without them getting angry.
Yeah, because I
Like
used
when
to
I
wear my
come to your
son's.
house in however many years it'll take me, and I go with my finger and I go touch, 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 touch to all your crystals, you'll know I'm doing it on purpose to do that. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would never, but I would go up with the look of like, I'm gonna touch this.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. If somebody was like, "Oh, that's beautiful. Can I look at it?" See, because they ask me, I'd be like, "Of course you can," or I'd hand it to them.
Right.
Absolutely. But don't go grabbing. Like, do you know?
Yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
Kath's like, oh my God, I've been in Zoe's house. Did I touch a crystal? And don't worry, you've not. I can see she's like, I wouldn't touch unless invited, but you've never grabbed anything. And Teresa, you never grabbed anything in my house either. So
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
good. But yeah, those are my material boundaries, and I haven't really thought about that before, James. So that's a new one for me. I like learning, like you know. So thanks for that.
Excellent.
Next.
So jumping right through material possessions, because like I say, that one I find is pretty simple. Once we
Yes.
understand that, oh, okay, yeah, right.
Yep.
Time
Yep.
and
Agreed.
energy. We don't have to answer emails and texts as soon as someone sends them. And setting these boundaries
Yes.
with I will respond when I have time, or will help if I can. So, or saying things like, sorry, I'm too tired. I've had a hard day, perhaps another day. And if you're able to help somebody with time and energy in a different
Mm-hmm.
day, offer that
Mm-hmm.
help. But it's okay to say no. Someone's like,
Absolutely.
"Oh, I'm
Yeah.
moving and I don't really have anybody to help me." And then you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, when are you moving?" And they're like, "Well, Tuesday." And you're like, "It's Sunday night."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you
Yeah.
knew how long ago you were having to move. You're
Exactly.
calling me 48 hours in advance. No,
Nah. Nah.
right?
Nah.
Where
It's
there are
maybe to
some
learn.
people that they could call me at 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday night saying, "Bro, I got to move tomorrow. Can you help me?" And there are certain people that legit I would help them. Even if I had a regular job, I'd be calling in that job sick so that I could help certain
Oh,
people,
totally.
right?
No, no. I
Um,
get that. Totally get that. It's when
but
it's
yeah, time and
expected.
energy. Chat,
Yep. When,
do you have a
yep.
hard time saying no when somebody asks you for your time or energy? And while you're putting your answers in the chat, I wanted to bring up, sometimes we have a deep connection with our soul brothers and sisters, and we're having a very hard day, and we're just like, "Hey, you got time for a call?" And they're like, "Sure do." And they call you, and right away we just start unleashing everything that's bothering us before we've
Mm-hmm.
taken time to say to them, "I got
Mm-hmm.
some shit going on. Do you actually have the time to hear me vent everything and get all these thoughts and frustrations out of my head?" We
Yes.
just do it.
Yes.
And guys, that's
Yes.
not cool. That's not cool. I've
Yeah.
done it. I've done it to Zoe,
Mm-hmm.
and she forgave me
Mm-hmm.
instantly. But
Oh, I.
um, legit, it's not cool for us to just vent on people that we love and trust when we're having a shit day. Ask
Mm-hmm.
them first.
Mm-hmm.
Get consent. Be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I just had something chaotic. Do you have
Yeah.
5 minutes for me to tell you everything that's going on, so that
No,
I can
that's
at least
true.
get these thoughts out of my brain?" You don't have to respond. You don't have to talk and
Yeah.
give your opinion. But
Mm-hmm.
I would be
Mm-hmm.
blessed if you had an opinion, because if someone's
Mm-hmm.
going to listen to us, we should be able to listen to what they have to say about what we're going through, even if we don't want to
Mm-hmm.
hear it. Because maybe everything we're pissed off about is self-absorbent bullshit, and they're going to say, like,
Yeah.
"Really? You're pissed off because there
Yeah.
was a line at the drive-through and you were late for work? Like, seriously?
Totally.
You're complaining about all of these first world problems? Get over yourself." We don't want to hear that, you
No,
know?
totally.
But if
Totally.
you're going to complain about that stuff, guess what? That's what I'm going to tell you. So
Yeah.
if you ask me if I'm able to hear you, most likely I have that time for you people in the world because I care
Mm-hmm.
about you. But just know that you're going to get my brutal, honest truth about what I'm hearing. And I would expect the
Yes.
same from all of you. And it's okay to say no,
Yes.
guys. Say your best friend calls you up, "I'm having a really shitty day. Do you got a few minutes?" You can say to them, "Sorry, right now I don't." And
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
there for your best friend, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But tell them, like, "I don't, but I will at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock this evening."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially when it's first thing in the morning and when you're empathic like us. If they're going through something, we just instantly feel it. So, we come off the call and we're feeling for them, and it kind of consumes our day because we're thinking of the pain and the anguish and the trauma that they're going through, or their pet, or their whatever, it can be anything. Because, yeah, like I get quite affected very easily by like anything, to be fair, especially first thing in the morning. So if
Yeah.
somebody's like, this happened last night or this has happened today, I get quite overwhelmed. So I think, like you say, just going, yo, have you got a couple of minutes to have a wee chat? And then because if you're friends, you know that something's up. As
Yeah,
soon as you say, can I call you? I'm like, right, James needs a chat. But
yeah,
I love that. And the thing is, I'm honest with you. I'm like, oh, I'm busy, or I'll catch up with you later, or I'm too baked. I've said
yeah,
that before. I'm like,
yeah.
just a little bit high, James. So yeah, I rather than ignoring you because I know that you need, not that you need me, but you're needing a chat. So rather than just ignoring you, and this is for anybody else, just be like, definitely, but not just now, maybe later or whatever.
Right.
So that gives that little bit, hope
It
as
does. It
such.
gives a huge relief. It gives huge
Yeah,
relief to somebody that needs somebody to hear them and care about them to
yeah,
say, definitely, I don't have the time at this moment. Give me a bit. Or like, I'm really swamped today, but first thing tomorrow, when you have time, get in touch with me or
yeah,
whatnot. The person who needs that is, they get this sense of relief of, oh, somebody
yeah,
does care and they're going to hear everything that's going through my mind, and I'm going to get through this. I have support. They know they
yeah,
have that support. It's like when
mm-hmm,
an addict is dope sick and they get their drug of choice and all of a sudden they're not dope sick anymore,
mm-hmm,
right? And they haven't even done the drugs yet,
mm-hmm.
but
I
they're
totally
okay
feel that.
now. Why are they
Yep,
okay?
yep,
Because
yep,
they have what they think they need,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right?
Great
They're still
point,
going to go and
great
use
point.
that. They're still going to go use
Mm-hmm,
that. But all of a sudden, the shakes
yep,
are gone.
yep.
The
I said
headache is
that
gone.
before.
The nausea
Was
is
it?
gone just because it's in your pocket.
I think was it I don't know if it was ever showed on Sonia, but I said the best bit about getting cocaine, like when you were out partying or you're in the pub or whatever, the best bit was waiting on it because you knew it was coming. So you'd all be like, it's coming, duh, duh, duh," and then you'd get it, and then it would just be like fried, and you'd regret it, and then you do the self wallow, and you know yourself, you're up, you're down, the come down, shouldn't have done it. But I
Yep.
used to say that was the best bit was the waiting on it, but that's a great point because it's like a placebo effect. So it just shows you that they're not, it's mad. Great point there,
Yeah.
James. Great
Yeah.
point.
Placebo effect. Awesome. OCD
Aye,
triggers the brain. Here's how powerful our
absolutely.
brain is. When they're excuse me, when they're trying a new drug, a new experimental drug, a percentage of these people get a placebo pill. They get
That's
sugar
right.
pills. A
Yep.
percentage of the people given the placebo pills get cured. And why is that? It's
Yep.
because our brain and our soul believes we are getting the medicine that we need to get cured.
Absolutely.
So the power
Absolutely.
of belief. So for anyone out there right now that doesn't believe they can get clean and sober, trust me, you can. We believe in you.
Absolutely.
Believe in yourself. You can get healthy. You can beat this disease. Don't do it on
Mm,
your own. Speak to a doctor because there's a lot of
yes.
substance out there that if you just try and go cold turkey, you will no longer be with us. We
Yeah.
want you to
Yeah.
be here and be the best version of you that you can possibly be, which I know you are right now. Right now, you're doing the best you absolutely can do, but we know you can do a little bit better. And that's what we're all doing. We're all just trying to get a little bit better every day, whether we
Baby
were
steps.
addicts or whether we weren't addicts, whether we were
Mm-hmm.
abusers that no longer abuse people because we didn't realize we were abusive when we went to therapy and
Mm-hmm.
we worked the therapy and got the skills we needed to not be an abusive human being, or whether we were a
Absolutely.
person on the other end of that spectrum and we're trying to do that work with you because we can get past survivor and become striver. We can
Yeah, I
become
like that.
beyond healed and become healers. Our
Mm-hmm.
plants can
Mm-hmm.
grow and produce fruit with viable seed that we can plant in others, and they can
Mm-hmm.
grow and become healthy plants with a proper support group, proper understanding, kindness,
Yep.
compassion, and love. Let's not
Mm-hmm.
be afraid. 2025, ladies and gentlemen, we got this. We're going to do this. We're going to heal
Absolutely.
ourselves and heal the people around us and move closer and closer and closer into the light and be
Mm-hmm.
surrounded with love. And I'm sorry I
Mm-hmm.
went on that rant again, but I just can't help it. You guys just
No,
mean so much to
no.
me.
Absolutely, James. I think we all need to hear that, and especially the self-healing part. You know, don't underestimate things like breath work and visualization. You know, like when you're even just 5 minutes a day. And also a wee tip: when you're not well or you're feeling sick, don't keep saying, "Oh, I feel really crap. Oh, I feel really sick. Oh, I've got." Just keep saying, I'm healing. I'm healing. Because if you
Yeah.
keep saying, and we know the power of words, you know, if you keep saying, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, it's going to take you longer to get
Yep.
better than saying, I'm healing, I'm healing, I'm healing. And like I
100%.
said with my tea earlier, I didn't used to like herbal tea, but now that I know that it's so good for me, I actually, every sip, I know that that goodness is going inside me. I know that I'm getting hydrated. I'm like actually processing it rather than just glugging something and putting it to the side. I know, I love it. This is where Craig would pop on with a big can of Stella and be like, yeah, exactly so, exactly so. Oh, I miss my mucker, I miss my mucker.
Lovely.
Um, yeah, but no, absolutely. I can't even remember where we were going. I completely digressed there.
No,
And
no,
thank
no.
you for
That's
saying
actually
that.
perfect because I think you had made your point of like you're believing the tea and you can feel it making you
Yeah,
healthier as you're drinking it,
yeah,
right? And look,
yeah.
guys, there's a method to this madness up here. Trust me, because we are moving right along from time and energy boundaries into mental boundaries. And these are
Yeah,
about our thoughts and our beliefs, our values and our opinions. Imagine that, right? We're talking
nice,
about the
nice.
power of believing in ourselves and the power of
Mm-hmm,
healing of a placebo, a sugar pill curing cancer, right? So
mm-hmm,
this comes all down to our mental abilities and setting boundaries on these things, right?
yep,
We have to
yep,
set boundaries on our own thoughts because we start thinking negativity, right? We
mm-hmm,
get the
mm-hmm,
automatic
mm-hmm.
negative thoughts. I have a short video on that. Make sure you go check that out on James
Yes,
Collins Cares.
yes, I've
Uh,
still got that.
right? We have the power of automatic negative thoughts can be counteracted with manual positive thoughts. We can say to
Mm,
ourselves manually, I'm not a stupid person. I forgot my keys in the house. I'm a silly person that forgot my keys in the house.
James, you taught
Right?
me so much, so much. You don't, and every time that I stop myself from saying like you stupid, but I did. I used to go for fuck's sake, you stupid, but and it was so nasty. I would never speak to anybody else like that. Why am I speaking to myself like that? It was
Yep.
foul. So when you actually showed me, I was like, wow. So now, like I said before, and sorry to interrupt, but you don't realize how much that's changed my life, James. I'm just like, oh, you silly Billy. Or I go, "Oh, ADHD brain." And now I laugh. I laugh when I leave things. I
Yep.
laugh when I forget things because it's quirky. So thank you. That was one of the biggest life lessons you have ever taught me. And at my old age, that's amazing. Go stop
And
saying
I
no.
remember that day so well too, because I remember saying, Zoe,
Yeah,
I'm going to teach you something today that's going to change your life.
I did. I
Right. And
absolutely
it's
did.
that seed. And it's that seed has now grown in you to a mature, beautiful, non-self abuse talking person. And you're now
Mm-hmm.
planting that seed in the people around you. If you see somebody
Mm-hmm.
saying, oh, stupid me, I left my keys in the house, you're automatically jumping to, whoa, 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 you're not a stupid person. You're just a person that made a mistake, silly person.
Exactly.
And you're now planting those seeds in other people, and it's going to grow
Mm-hmm.
inside them. And it's one
Mm-hmm.
of the most important life lessons that I ever learned, right? I wouldn't let somebody else talk to me in that manner. So I sure as
Yes.
hell am not going to talk to myself like that. Because if
Yeah, just
somebody spoke
today,
to me with that ignorance and arrogance and
you
rudeness,
would
I would
you
resort to
wouldn't
the
accept
angry,
that.
aggression, evil,
Mm-hmm.
fear based human
Mm-hmm.
being that I used to be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
with our mental
Power.
having, we have our own thoughts, our own beliefs, our own values and opinions. We all have different ones. So, therefore, we should respect people's rights to them as well,
Sure.
because
Amen.
respect, most important thing in the world. If we respect people around us, it shows the level of respect we have for ourselves. The way we
Yes.
treat other people is a direct reflection of ourself, and that's why people will project negativities at us, because their
Mm-hmm.
insecurities, they don't even see what we really are. They just see a reflection of their own selfishness,
Yep.
their own insecurities in us, right?
Absolutely.
So remember that when somebody says these negative things towards us, 99.9% of the time, it has zero to do with us. It has zero
Yep.
to do with our beliefs and our opinions and our thoughts. It's a reflection of theirs. So that's what we need to do towards others. We need to show the reflection of ourselves towards them
Yep.
by treating them the way we want to be treated, with
Yep.
respect and
Yep.
kindness.
See, I used to be very anti-religion as such, and I have changed because now I see it as a beautiful thing if somebody's got faith and belief in something and that gets them through the day and that stops them doing bad things. Amazing. It doesn't matter if it's Allah, God, the source, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Although cultures are different around that, and that's a completely different podcast all in all. But Jehovah's Witnesses came to my door probably about 3 months ago, and usually I'd be like, "Oh, no, slam," but I didn't. And I told them that I was a healer, like a spiritual healer, because I think I maybe wanted to see their reaction as well.
right.
And she was like, "Oh, tell me how you got into that." And I was like, "A lot of trauma and a lot of chaos led me to this path." And she was like, "Have you ever thought of coming to church?" And I was like, "No, not at all. I don't believe in religion, but I think it's absolutely brilliant if this is, your purpose in life, you do you." And I came in and my son said, "You were very nice there, Mum." And I was like, "Well, what's the point in me going, I don't believe in God, and going on about stuff, and I could go deep and I've done it
Yeah,
before, but that doesn't make me a good person. It just makes me look the bigger idiot, angry, confirms
right.
everything that they believe." So yeah, I just treat people so different now. And I think it's also ties in with the speaking to yourself. I just, yeah, I'm trying not to be angry when it doesn't need to be. But anyway, what thingy were we on? Because I've totally forgot. I
Well, we
keep
were we,
digressing. It's
we were
terrible.
pretty much we were at the end of the notes on mental health and mental boundaries. With the
Mental
we all
boundaries.
have different thoughts and opinions, and we should respect other people's.
Yes, that
Um,
was it.
and then the last one of the five boundaries is physical boundaries, right? And a
Yep.
lot of people don't have a problem with physical boundaries. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people have no problem saying, "I don't want to be touched."
Yeah.
And but there's many different ways of physical boundaries. People have their personal bubble, they like to call it, like,
Mm.
"Oh, I don't like people in my personal bubble."
Yeah, I don't.
um,
I'm very, yep, yep.
and then, like,
Yep.
intimacy and new relationships, right? People
Mm-hmm.
who need to set boundaries, like I was talking with you the other day about intimacy
Mm-hmm.
and physical boundaries and things
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
I always set in life, because I want
Yep,
to
that's right.
clearly communicate with people my
Yep.
intentions, so therefore there's less chance of confusion. But I'm not
Absolutely.
perfect at it either. It's something I actively work on to the best of my ability, is communication,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it brings us closer to love if we
Of
can
course.
communicate. Even if we disagree with somebody, if we can say it without being angry. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I always say, I'd like to talk with my homeboy. We like to talk and debate about things. And his wife is constantly saying, "Oh my God, Thierry and James, the two of you, like, can you not get along?" And we're like, we're having the best day ever, because we'll
Totally.
argue things in a sense of not an argument, but a
Yep.
debate style
A
arguing
debate. Yep.
of things that we don't necessarily even agree on. Like,
Yep.
he'll bring up
Yep.
something, and I'll just automatically be like, talk about the opposite, which makes him talk about the opposite. And
Yep.
it's just like our way of making our brains smarter. Like,
Yep.
if we could
Yep.
take person A and person A in real life is pro abortion or pro choice, and
Mm-hmm.
person B is no abortion, no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's make them argue that abortion should be choosable, and make the people who
Okay.
believe you should be able to choose, let's make them argue on why they shouldn't be allowed.
Yep.
and,
Yep.
and let's see what kind of conversations can happen, right? Because conversation and open discord with
Totally.
communication is how we move forward and learn. We all know they want to conquer and divide us, right, people? Why do you think they say never talk about politics or religion?
Yes,
Because these are the
yes.
two things that they can use to constantly divide us. So I want to take this opportunity to remind the world that if I have to be labeled as some kind of religion, then I'm a neo pagan. I believe in many, many gods, and those gods include the Christian God and the Muslim gods and the Hindu gods and the pagan gods, and they include source, and they include every faith and religion on the planet. That's what I believe. I
Mhm.
believe you're all right to some degree, and like in life with people we love and care about, we don't have to agree on everything, and we can focus on the things we agree about than the things we don't agree about. And if we're going to
Exactly.
talk about things we don't agree about, let's talk about solutions, not the problems. Because a lot of
Yes.
people want to talk about the problem of this and the problem is and the problem is,
Yeah.
but there ain't a lot of solution talking out there, guys. How do we change this in a way to move
Mhm.
forward closer in the way of love and
And
further
that's,
away
yep,
from the direction of fear?
that's what I was going to say. Fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And when you're living in fear, it's like not far away from shame and guilt. Your vibrations are really, really low. And that not only makes you ill, you're a lot easier to manipulate mentally. And that's literally what, without saying too much because we are on YouTube, what the government's done through this whole shenanigans since 2020, shall we say, is just to see how people can be convinced to do something through fear, fear, fear. And that's why you see headlines in the newspaper, storm, well, yeah, it's winter,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
try not to fear porn yourself. That's why I stay off Twitter in the morning. I don't read papers. I don't have a TV. I don't go in the news. I go to Sonia Poulton for my news on a Monday and a Friday. She's got her wake up in the morning, and that's where I learn what's going on in the world. I try to avoid Twitter because there's so much going on. So discernment. This is where I wanted to go with that discernment to basically disattach from things like that. If it affects you, the news, if it affects you, what's going on, turn it off.
yeah,
Put your phone away. Put your
yeah.
laptop down. Go read a book. Go connect with nature. Take your shoes off. Hug a tree. Like, seriously, that works. That really does work for our grounding. But
Yep,
we're taught to go away from that devices, internet. So
that's right.
break it.
Right.
Break it. I'm going to have a break soon, actually.
Okay, I know we're getting close to the end of the stream here, guys. So I just want to say again,
Oh, go
Groundhog
hard.
Day, right? Bill Murray kept repeating and repeating and repeating. But when he started moving closer in the direction of love and he started caring about everybody in the little town that they were in,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
stopped being so hateful and jaded towards the world. He was moving closer and closer in the direction of love and light. He
Mm-hmm.
woke up that day and the clock wasn't reset and it was no longer Groundhog Day. He was
Mm-hmm.
living in today. He was no longer stuck in that circle of reliving in fear and closed off. He was now living
Yep.
in the world of love and connection. I
Mm-hmm.
love you all. Thank you for spending your time and connecting here with us on Synchronized Souls. When two worlds collide, Scotland and Canada, we collide, but
We
we
collide, baby.
create through chaos is where creation is born. Thank you all so
I
much. I
love
love you.
that. Oh my James, isn't he amazing, guys? Isn't he amazing? This is why I love having him on. Right, on that note, I'm going to say thank you all for being here. If you've not already, please give the video a wee thumbs up. If you've not already gone over to James Collins Cares channel
Right.
and
Today,
subscribed.
today is Friday Fables on my channel, right? Every Friday we flip open the book. We find a new fable to read. We got about 47 weeks left of Friday Fables, guys. I had to throw
And
that in.
you've just got one more sub as well because you went up to 304. So keep going, guys. Go and hit it. If you're watching on
Awesome.
replay, especially, thank you so much. You're all amazing. I love you all. Thanks for being here. And
I love you
yeah,
guys.
have a
Thank you.
brilliant weekend, guys. Goodbye.